I think.
Back with another Masters of the Universe Origins review, and this one is for another deluxe figure. This one was released alongside Clamp Champ. It's Ram Man, and after that we're going to be taking a look at Roboto and Fisto, but look how pretty those look all together. They really got the packaging perfect on these Origin figures. This one's clogging the pegs everywhere locally, Toys R Us and Walmart, along with Clamp Champ. But if you can't find them at your local store, definitely head over to Big Bad Toy Store. They've still got them in stock there, along with Clamp Champ as well, and a couple of other Origins figures. So Ram Man, one of my favorite Masters of the Universe figures from my childhood. There's one in the back over there with the other vintage guys. And while I was very excited to get a Scareglow and a Ninjor, since I never had the vintage ones, and like I said in those reviews, if I had to choose between a vintage one and an Origins one, it's actually pretty cool to get an Origins one with a little bit more posability. But in Ram Man's case, I don't know if the extra articulation is going to work on this guy, because his whole charm was the push him down, press the button on his back, and have him do the battering ram action, which it looks like he has retained, luckily. The classics version of Ram Man, the edict for so many of those figures was no gimmicks. They were just for look, for display, posing. But it looks like this classic gimmick is back. Very interested to see how that's going to work, because the legs are actually individual, and it looks like he's got a joint in there, somewhat articulated. So that's going to be cool, because the original figure, which I'll show when I do a comparison, is just one solid piece. And like the other deluxe figures, he comes with an alternate head. This is a totally armored up head. Cool addition. With the Clamp Champ extra head, you know, one head is kind of serious, one's smiling, but that's especially cool. Vintage style axe, extra hand, different looking axe. Comes with a comic book. It's really cool that they include some custom artwork. Not all of the Origins figures have that. And case in point, Fisto just has his name on there, but the deluxe figures, because they're a little bit more, I guess they decided to give a little bit more, give you some custom artwork. And on the back there's a ramming a Roton with Faker driving it and Skeletor. Really nice artwork in the back there as well. Look at some of the other ones. Hoping to find a flocked Panther at a local Walmart. Still no sign of them here. Saw a couple of regular non-flocked Panthers at Toys R Us, but they have yet to arrive at Walmart here. Alright, Deluxe Ram Man, let's open it up. So one thing I often talk about on this channel is what feels right. You can't always come up with what you're going to do by staring at a picture. Sometimes you got to use these things right here, your hands, and actually feel something and see how it makes you feel. Staring at this guy in the package, I actually passed him up a number of times. I did a happy dance when I saw Clamp Champ, but Ram Man, I was very happy with the vintage one. I didn't know if I needed an Origins Ram Man. I ended up deciding to get him just, you know, to do this review, as well as I know that once these things aren't in stores anymore, they're gonna go up in value quite a bit. But I'm so glad now that I've actually opened them. Usually I can tell if I'm holding the package in the store, if it's a yes or a no. This one I actually had to open up, and he is just so hefty and chunky and
beefy.
It's more about feel than look with this particular guy. He looks like what he looks like, but he feels so right. They got the weight perfect, just the it really does. I've got a big smile on my face right now. If you don't have a vintage Ram Man, but you grew up with one, it was probably one of your favorite toys. It was one of my favorite toys. I just love doing the ramming gimmick. they've got it, much like a lot of the other Origins figures, absolutely perfectly. They've really captured the essence of the vintage Ram Man, and just like with all the other Origins figures, even better. More posability, more articulation. Look at this, he can get his arms out there, he can do the Hans and Franz pump you up. That's awesome. He's got twist, elbow bend, wrist. It's not the standard Masters of the Universe hands. Look at these big meaty paws. It's so cool. He's got a fist on this hand or another gripping hand. Looks like there's a little bit of extra plastic flash in there. That shouldn't be too hard to just knock out. And that's it. Oh, look at that. He's got the same removable limbs as all the other Origin figures. Pop that right in. I don't know if this is removable. Possibly. You know me, I'm not all that adventurous, especially with brand new toys right out of the package. But that is cool that that's floppy, so that allows for lots of range. Look at how that bends so nicely to allow the arm, which keeps popping out on that side, to move around. I just love that he's able to do like a muscle pose. That's awesome. Head, I would expect barely any articulation, any movement.
How do you turn your head?
Well, what I do is, well, you see what I manage.
Barely, like that's it. Pop the head off. It's not that hard actually, considering there's no real easy way to grip it. Pop the new one on. You got the armored up head. Cool. Never appeared like that on the old show. Or in the mini comics, I believe. Maybe it is a mini comic. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a mini comic look. Speaking of the mini comic, this looks familiar. This looks just like the one that was included with Clamp Champ. So I guess it's a Clamp Champ and Ram Man mini comic. It's got the same skull. That's awesome and surprising in this day and age, with so much stuff being sanitized these days. Not wanting to scare the tykes. Cool that actually was retained. And I was surprised when I took a closer look at my vintage Ram Man to see the skull on there. I don't know if I ever noticed the skull all these years. So he doesn't have anything on the back. One of the later Ram Men had a little spot that you could click the axe in, but you can easily stick that in his hand. And if you want him to have two weapons, you can pop in the alternate hand and the extra axe. That's what's cool about the deluxe figures. What's not cool is the increased price, but what is cool is the extra pieces that they include with them. So you can have Rami double axe it. This is such an awesome figure. Very, very surprised at how much I like this guy. It's not very often that I just see a figure in a package and go, okay, I don't know. Might be interesting to review for 10 minutes. Or I guess 20 minutes is more my style. But I'm just loving being able to pose a vintage Ram Man. This is like a vintage Ram Man, but able to do all these things I wish I could have done with the original one. All right, so that's all of his articulation, his various details. By the way, really beautiful silver coloration on here, and this doesn't feel like it's going to fleck off. It seems painted, but I think that's actually what it's molded as. It's really nice. Same with on the wrists as well. This was chrome sticker on the original one.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
Ram Man and He-Man from the Masters of the Universe collection, each sold separately. Castle Grayskull also sold separately from Mattel.
And now back to to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
If this was it, I would be very, very satisfied. But he actually has the ramming gimmick. So here's some instructions. I don't think these instructions actually tell you about the ramming gimmick. They're just, once again, saying it's okay if you rip a limb off. And actually, I wanted to check those instructions. No, it looks like the legs are not removable. Head and arms, but not the legs. That's good to know. So I'm guessing this should work like the original one did. Press that in. There doesn't seem to be a button like the original one had. So I guess you just push him again. And wow, he's got quite a spring. By the way, these are they're individual legs from the knee down. So that's how they got the spring gimmick to work. It's still joined like the old figure was, but then you can, I think, bend. It's not wanting to bend. Bend at the knee. It looks like it should be a bendable knee joint. Ah, it's just a little stiff. Oh, cool. So you can give your Ram Man like a running pose. In theory, he doesn't seem to have quite enough range. I don't really want to risk that second one, especially if he won't really stand if you bend one of his legs. It is nice that you can turn them out, though. That makes him a little bit more stable, less likely to fall back anyway, like that. But to do the spring gimmick, it seems to be it. Just push down. It clicks into place. And then push it again and it just launches. So unfortunately, with the way that spring-loaded gimmick is activated, you can't just, the trigger's in the back of the foot. You can't just hold him and have him ram other figures if you want to use this one. And man, that takes a lot of force to do that. That is a powerful spring in there. Like basically, if you want to do that, you have to, I guess, hook him like this, or by his shoulders, pull him in a little bit more, hold him by the feet, and then let go of where you're holding on to him. It's quite tricky. It's almost like they're discouraging using this this figure for ramming other figures, but let's see how much damage he does here. Oh, quite a bit of force. Might be a little bit easier if you remove the axe, load him up. Trying to figure out a configuration that would make this work better. Man, that is tons of force right there. So yeah, if you're wondering if Rammy still has the spring-loaded ramming power of the original, that and then some. It kind of reminds me of the first time I used Roller in the Takara reissue Optimus Prime, the New Year Convoy, and how much stronger the spring was in the Japanese version than the original United States version. Wow. So he is quite a bit taller than the original Ram Man when they're both in ready to spring mode. And then is he still taller in this mode? Just about the same height, just a hair taller. This one is possibly. And a look at them back to back. The coloring on the Origins Ram Man is just ever so slightly lighter. It's a lighter red on Origins, lighter green on his legs, but you see the exact same skull design. They've painted the belt black instead of just full silver. Still a pretty basic head sculpt, but it still harkens back to the original one. And all of the armor detail has been recreated very, very well. That's so cool when someone designs a modern figure and you can just tell that while they were sculpting it, they were checking the original one over and over and over again. Just got so many of the details of the original And a couple of other Ram men. This is the Classics Ram man, who is just a beast. He is gargantuan. No Ram and gimmick, but hefty, big, thick, beefy guy. And he's got a little clip on his back for the axe, which was also seen on this one, the 2000X Ram man, who had a little bit of range in his arms, but not quite as much as Origins. And also the little clip on his back too. So surprising they didn't include that. I guess, I don't know, you can stay true to the original and not put that on there, or use one of the improvements from the later figures. Would have been, I think personally, would have been cool to have a little clip on there, but it's really not that big a deal to use a little bit of sticky tack, I guess, if you want to. And 2000X Ram Man. Wow, that's so surprising how much force that takes to spring that. This one has the spring gimmick too, also in his foot. And does it still work? Wow, it's been a while since I've used this gimmick. He seems to have oh, I guess you got to get the feet completely straight. I had them off to the side a little bit, so that should work now. Yeah, there you go. Barely any power right there. I don't know if there's even enough to knock over. A little bit. Pretty weak, kind of like the vintage Ram Man. This one beats them all. Let me know what your favorite version of Ram Man is in the comment section below. Thanks to the Patreon tribe for your support, much appreciated. You can head over to patreon.com/MichaelMercy if you're interested in becoming a member, unlocking tons of exclusive videos and a bunch of other exclusive rewards as well. And of course, to join the tribe, Ram subscribe. Namaste.